Hey everybody, it's Mike Frieder here with the On-Call Compliance Solutions, and I'm back with another compliance tip of the week. Today we're talking about DFARS, NIST SP 800-171, and CMMC. Why defense contractors fail NIST SP 800-171 and CMMC assessments. And more importantly, how to fix it. So hey, if you're a defense contractor who's feeling overwhelmed, tired, and alone, trying to understand all of this DFARS, NIST SP 800-171, and CMMC compliance stuff, I've got great news for you. You found your home here at On-Call Compliance Solutions, where we can help you transform into your company's on-call compliance hero. Let's jump into it. So, the big truth nobody tells you, all right, let's just get it out of the way right now. Passing a NIST SP 800-171 assessment is not about checking the boxes. It's about providing the evidence that your controls are implemented, working, and repeatable. Because assessors aren't really grading intentions here, okay? They're grading what you can prove on your worst day and what they can basically write down in an assessment booklet. And trust me, we've seen patterns, real world patterns. So today I'm going to break down the most common failure points we see across the defense industrial base, and more importantly, exactly how to fix them. Failure number one, access control that looks good but isn't really enforced. What does it look like? Well, everyone has access to everything just in case. Shared accounts floating around, admin privileges handed out like Halloween candy. Well, let me tell you, here's why it fails. Because NIST SP 800-171 and CMMC are very clear. You need least privilege and role-based access control. And when that's not enforced consistently, well, assessors are going to flag it immediately and start cascading the not mets. How do you fix it? Well, implement true role-based access control, or RBAC. Define those roles tied to job functions and remove standing admin privileges, especially if they're not needed. Use group-based access, not one-off permissions. And here's a key. You need to prove enforcement, not just define it. Now, failure number two. Weak or incomplete audit logging. Again, your SIEM system isn't really doing much seaming. What it looks like, logs are enabled somewhere, no central visibility, no one reviewing anything, and let me tell you, the idea of setting up a SIEM system and then it turns out there's nobody to actually monitor the thing, it happens so much more than you would think. So why does it fail? Well, because logging isn't just about collecting data, it's about monitoring, correlating, investigating, and if you can't show that, well, that's a fail. How do we fix it? Well, centralizing logs into a SIEM, define what events are logged, logons, admin actions, etc., and of course, set retention policies. Assign someone responsible for review and response. Because according to the assessment process, logs must support monitoring and investigation of unauthorized activity. Now, failure number three, incident response plans that exist, but don't work. What it looks like, a beautiful PDF sitting in a folder nobody trained on. Never tested. Well, why does it fail? Because NIST requires an operational capability, not just the idea that you've got a document sitting in a folder. And that again is a really, really big problem. It seems like somebody in the organization always goes and gets compliant, or so they think. And then when they're done, they sit it in a folder and HR never distributes it or trains on it. Yuck. What does this mean? Well, again, we have to have the operational capability, not just document it. And that means we have to have the ability and people who are trained on things like detection, response, containment, recovery, all those things, and they've all got to be functioning and actually working. So how do we fix it? Well, how about let's try some tabletop exercises. Let's walk through those scenarios and actually talk about them and document with time entries that we actually talked about them and practiced how our response is going to be. We want to train employees on reporting incidents. We want to define escalation paths so it's clear. And we want to test your process regularly. And yes, if you've never tested it, well then assume it doesn't work. Failure number four, poor boundary definition, scope confusion. Let's talk about what it looks like. Everything is in scope or panic mode, or worse, we think only this server is in scope. Ugh, why does it fail? Well, look, scope is everything when it comes to compliance and when it comes to NIST SP 800-171 and CMMC. Because at the end of the day, you, the company, you define scope, not the assessor. And if your team says something different during the interviews, red flag city, baby. We've seen assessments literally derailed just from scope confusion alone. because nobody really seems to know where the CUI is flowing. How do you fix it? Well, map where CUI flows. Actually sit down and just have a conversation with your team. Let's find out where it's stored, processed, and transmitted. What a concept. And create CUI flow notes, CUI flow diagrams, and system boundary definitions. Train your team to speak consistently. Because if scope isn't crystal clear, nothing really matters. Now, failure number 5, multi-factor authentication gaps. This one is dangerous because it might not be on systems that you're thinking of. What does it look like? Well, MFA is enabled for some users, but maybe not all. Again, you've got to make sure those policies are enforced, and you got to be able to prove it. You shouldn't have people who can get admin access, or any kind of access really, without MFA enabled. So, go check your Entra IDs right now. MFA is enabled for some users, but not all. Missing on admin accounts, missing on remote access. And hey, look, why does it fail? Because MFA is a non-negotiable. It's 5-point control. It's non-negotiable for privileged accounts, remote access, network access. And hey, how do we fix that? Well, we have to enforce MFA across VPNs, cloud apps, admin accounts, and validate it's working everywhere. Document and test it, and make sure it's all enforced. This is one of the fastest fails we see. We see it often. MFA is a 5-point control. Now, failure number 6, no evidence, the body of evidence problem. What it looks like? Well, yeah, we do that, but no proof. Why does it fail? Because assessments are based on examine, interview, and test. If you can't show it, well, it didn't happen. And the body of evidence requirement is where companies start banging their heads against the wall. How to fix it? Well, maintain policies, procedures, logs, screenshots, config exports, and tie the evidence to each control. Organize it before the audit. And I'll tell you, here's a pro tip. Take your system security plan, take all those assessment objectives, and literally link objects. So take your other Word documents, your policies, procedures, standard operating procedures, spreadsheets, whatever, link it to the assessment objective in your system security plan. If you come get a CMMC certification from OnCall, we are going to ask you to submit your evidence in such a way that it's very easy for us to figure out what evidence goes with what control. We're going to say, give us your SSP, and if you don't mind, please link as an object each individual standard operating procedure and policy to the assessment objective. By the way, we really do that because it's a great checklist, right, for the client who's getting certified, so they'll know, hey, wait a minute, if I'm not attaching any evidence to an assessment objective, maybe I haven't thought about it, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Here's a hint. Now, pro tip, build evidence as you go, not the week before the audit. That's kind of a disaster. You want to be doing this all along, you guys. Again, your evidence should be really almost kind of like a part of your SSP. That's the easy way to do it. Failure number 7, misconfigured cloud environments, the M365 nightmare. Everybody thinks this thing works out of the box and they're good to go. Nope, not even close. What it looks like, using commercial Microsoft 365. I mean, that'll get you a failed audit fast. No understanding of FedRAMP requirements, no shared responsibility clarity. And let me tell you why it fails. Because storing CUI in the wrong cloud, that's an instant non-compliance, okay? And again, you might not think about this kind of stuff, but that's what you're watching this YouTube channel for, right? Find out what you don't know. And you know what? If you don't know, I've got somebody you can call who's always on call. You know who I'm talking about. All right. How do you fix it? Well, we can use the Azure Government and Office 365 GCC or GCC high environments. We can obtain FedRAMP authorization or equivalency evidence. We can build a shared responsibility matrix. We can document what you are responsible for, because even if the cloud is secure, you still own your side of the controls, and you've got to handle that as part of your shared responsibility with your service provider. Now, bringing it all together. So what's the common theme here? Well, it's not that companies are trying to fail. Believe me, I'm sure you're trying to be secure. In most cases, your security is probably pretty okay. But it's that they're guessing instead of validating. They're documenting instead of operationalizing. It's not good enough to just have the standard operating procedure. You got to have the standard operating procedure. It's got to be approved, and it's got to actually be out in the hands of the people who are going to operate that system. You got to train them. Sorry, HR is going to have to get involved. All right. Planning instead of proving, but here's the good news. Here's the part I want you to hear loud and clear, because most of these failures are completely fixable, and maybe even like pretty quickly, right? They can be fixed with the right culture, the right structure, the right documentation, and the right guidance. And honestly, most companies don't need to rebuild everything, all right? They just need to fix what's already there and prove that it works and actually like get it implemented. Or if you don't have any of that stuff and you're floundering around in the ocean trying to figure out where the shore is, you could reach out to us. We'll help for free. Seriously, give us a call. If you've got a simple question, we'll answer it. We don't bite, but what we will do? We can help you get across the finish line. And if it's something bigger than just an easy question or two, we can help with that too. Now, I've got a question for you. Which one of these do you think would fail in your environment today? Drop it in the comments. Seriously, we read every one of them. And if you want us to break down one of these areas deeper in another video, let us know. And hey, at On Call, we take defense contractors who have had this DFARS, NIST SP 800-171, CMMC, ITAR, and EAR information security compliance stuff dropped in their laps like a seagull on a sunny day. And we teach you how to level up and be a proper on-call compliance hero for your company, eliminating gaps, gray areas, and getting this solved, all while showing you how to leverage compliance as your secret weapon to land more defense work with higher profit margins. Now that is what becoming an on-call compliance hero can do for you, baby. If you're looking for more help getting compliant, our compliance experts are always on call for you. Visit cmmccompliancesecrets.com or check out the description below for links to get help right now. And if you love the content we're out here putting out there, here, somewhere, we're putting it somewhere, up on YouTube, that's where we're putting it. If you love the content we're putting out here for you, help us out with a big thumbs up on that like button, or even better, smash the subscribe button to get the latest compliance content as soon as our compliance nerds roll it out. Until next compliance tip, my friends, stay safe and secure out there, and hit us in the comments below to let us know what you'd like to know more about when it comes to information security and compliance. And I'll see you on the next one.